about double standards in Indian society on social issues, social rules, regulations, which we hear from our ancestors, our grandparents, but we haven't seen any written text. Is it possible that a society of 5,000 years formed, well structured, doesn't have any written text? So here I am referring a couple of Vedic texts as per my research. Let us discuss. Do we need only formal education? Do we need to know only maths, calculation, science and prescribed learning books? Is this not required for us to learn? Just not getting into a job or earning is enough for a happy and peaceful life, or just getting into a job? Do we need to learn only how to dress up like Indian? Do we need to learn only how to celebrate festivals and worship gods and goddesses? Or cook food? We need to know our true social structure, social rules, responsibilities, and find a balance between rights and responsibilities in 21st century. We ourselves need to refer to texts, not just blindly follow to what an uncle or aunt tells us, as they themselves must not have referred any real ancient text themselves. Let's discuss property of a woman. As per Vedic text, and society before 21st century believed giving a share in father's property to a girl child also other than boys, depending on financial condition and region and religion. There was no limit to jewelry as Tridhana or a security to a girl child from her father, and there was no upper limit in it. There was no rule on how much, but a decent share, say around 20 to 30% of father's property, will be distributed among daughters more than 1,000 years ago, was given with wish. This property of a woman will remain with her for herself and her use. She was not supposed to hand over this to her in-laws or husband. Only in crisis her husband can use this for the welfare of his kids and himself. There were other social issues. With time, every society needs change and issues needs to be addressed with discussions among scholars, not talking about it or keeping people silent on the name of gender or caste, religion or region or culture will bring the system in a completely bad shape. Social issues and social system in India or in Indus Valley region needs to be discussed and upgraded based on modern times, but at the same time the culture or tradition of 5,000 years needs a proper understanding, as we have addressed and discussed these issues better and rules were clear and defined better in past and well written. But for past 1,000 years there is a confusion when people are manipulating and using it as per their convenience. Let's talk women's rights and responsibilities. Women had many rights and responsibilities as per our rules mentioned in ancient texts, and she had respect in society. Today, rules are manipulated by both her parents' side as well as her in-laws' side as well as her side, depending on the case-to-case basis. And she is being used by both sometimes, or she misuses her womanhood sometimes, depending on person to person. Same is true in the case of men. So a discussion and social reform is required in the society. Let's discuss it further. What was women's role in India? In past, women had great respect in society, and present also, women has given a lot of respect. We have so many goddesses being worshipped in the country. She can visit her parents' house for delivery or for vacations with her family and will be treated well. Her brothers, father, her mother, sisters will give her a good stay, and there will be mutual respect in relationships. But slowly things changed in last 1,000 years. She is considered as weak part of the society. There were many influences in the society. Male domination started. Manipulation started. How many of us have understood Vedas, Puranas? Are we even aware that the social rules are pre-written? There are many Vedic texts. How many of us have even gone through it? Women's parents were not supposed to stay more than required in her in-law's place at that time, and this tradition is eliminated in 21st century. There were problems even in that society, but we are trying to overcome that. In this society, it doesn't mean we should include more problems. Now a woman's parents also can visit her as and when they wish, and she is also supposed to share responsibilities with her rights as per her capacity. Let us discuss what was the shape of property of a woman that time and compare it with this time in this century. If a family has no boy child and only girl children, still they cannot give their daughters other than jewelry as her property share in ancient times as per our culture that time. Remaining land and other assets in that case, when there is no boy in the immediate family, will be given to father's brother or nephew. But now things have changed. Eldest brother, who will share more responsibility, will get 10% more share by father in those days. If father has no money or in debt, no dowry in the form of jewelry is required. Dowry was given to a girl to give her decent share, if not equal, but a decent and respectful share. If she is not sharing, equal responsibility. Sons were also given major share in father's property. Violating these rules, an adequate compensation was decided by the government in those days. Now things have changed. People, as per law, kids have equal share in the ancestral property, and father's property is being decided by father. Now there is no rule on earned property. Is this what we have inherited from our ancestors? In modern days, before 21st century till mid-90s, when India was still not so prosperous, land rates were not so high, similar rules by society were observed, but in a little distorted form. After mid-90s, when India became prosperous and land rates are booming, income and pension is high, the selfish people based on their requirement distort social rules and structure, much more irrespective of gender. Now dowry is given sometimes out of pressure from in-laws of the girls, or dowry is given to sons. Sometimes even girl herself is interested in taking dowry, even if her father is a poor person. Rarely actual purpose of dowry is fulfilled. The real purpose of dowry in those days was to give a decent share to daughter from her father's property as a form of affection, and she should accept it. And in case father is poor, dowry was not required. In-laws or husband cannot control her Sridhan. But in modern times things have changed. We have become more selfish. Some of the examples are, for example, woman gets education, this is a good change, and she is independent and an earning member. Even a boy is getting equal opportunity, but using this in many houses, in-laws force a girl to work even in evening shifts and even in night shifts. Even if she is willing to spend time with her kids, she is not allowed to do so. It should be her choice and her priority. And parents do not give her any share saying that they made her independent. They forget that they made their sons also independent. Daughter-in-laws parents are staying in her place for vacations, this is a good change. But when daughter is visiting her father's place, her brother and bhabhi sometimes, who are neither running the household expenses, as after 6th pay commission pension is increased and in-laws are even babysitting kids, so they are not burdened in most of the places rather than they are assets, nor the house is built by them. But few sons misbehave with their daughters. It means few sons misbehave with the sisters. So, we need a social reform. We need to refer to old ancient texts, and we need to try to find out a balance, and we need to enhance and update the social system. There should be some base on that, not just because some or the other aunt or uncle is telling something is our ritual or this is how we eat, how things are. It's a common saying in India saying that लड़कियां लेती हैं क्या, या ये लड़के का कर्तव्य है, या if you talk about responsibility, the point fingers are towards the son. If the point about sharing the assets, sometimes girl gets the share, sometimes girl doesn't get the share, sometimes boy gets the share. There is a lot of imbalance in the society. In some places, son is considered more responsible and father saves his pension telling his son and daughter-in-law about their duties. Father makes son being responsible for his sisters as well, though he himself can take responsibility both effort-wise and financially, and forgets duties of a father himself. Sister-in-laws or daughters of the house visit for vacations and may misbehave with brother and bhabhi who are running the show and have taken the responsibility. And these sister-in-laws at the time of responsibility refer old century rules that daughters are not responsible for anything, neither before marriage or after marriage. But in ancient culture and society, girls were bound with duties before marriage and respecting elders throughout life. But while taking equal share in property, they prefer modern century rules. So it depends on person to person and his or her ethics, his or her perceptions. People are manipulating rules. In current social scenario, let's take another case. Here an educated girl is married with her parents' wish. Her parents emotionally managed her and convinced her that what decision they will take is good for her. She should not choose her life partner out of caste or against their wish, or else her parents will feel bad, or else they will not be responsible for her in future. But in fact, even if she will marry with their wish, they will not be responsible for her which she is not even aware of. She marries a groom of their choice about whom they themselves knew a little. Other than his caste, salary, education and horoscope, they knew nothing. With time and struggle, she becomes prosperous and takes stand in front of her in-laws when they stop her parents from visiting her house, as she feels her parents raised her very well, gave her opportunity of education so that she can also earn. She'll give them happiness and share responsibility if required, she decides. Her house is run by her husband and her effort, and her in-laws are enjoying their stay. They are not sharing any of the responsibilities, neither effort-wise nor financially, and increasing their savings by staying and saving their pensions and assets as well. So they verbally promise that what all belongs to them is their sons and daughter-in-laws, but only so they should continue taking responsibilities of house and daughters of the house. This way they increase their savings. They give all the responsibility to son and daughter-in-law. But after a few years, most of the savings were being given to daughter. On the other side, the daughter-in-law's parents promise her, even though she never asked for anything, they promised her to give her 15% of her father's assets in the form of gifting her one of his many flats and houses. He is a very well-to-do man and share in ancestral land, but that was also not being fulfilled. So people do change their stand. After many years, her brother marries. He is also educated and got equal opportunity, but he is not much serious about making a good career. It was not her fault. Her bhabhi is among three sisters of her father, and her family visits frequently and stays in her in-laws' place. It means girl's parents' place. But whenever daughter of this family, this girl, visits her parents' house, in a fear in case if she will get some share, brothers misbehave, and mother keeps quiet, so that she should stop coming, and mother also supports the brother for in this act. Most of mothers in India support boy child, and they never wanted a girl child, though she herself was a girl some time ago, she forgets, and did not hesitate taking her share in her father's property in past. When she was a girl, she forgets. Current social scenario, her bhabhi's father will give all his property to his daughters as he has no son. Now this gentleman says it is 21st century and daughters have right. But as per our social rules in last century, he should have given all his assets to other than Stridhan, to his other brother or his nephew as per ancient text. But here he is referring 21st century. And the same gentleman tells his daughter, who is a daughter-in-law of another family, what all belongs to your father-in-law belongs to your husband, means his son. Daughters or your sister-in-law should not take any share in father's property as per old century. So our society is manipulating rules of social setup as per our wish and requirement. Daughter's mother or parents kept on changing their stand. They keep on doing it in many of the households since her marriage. Initially, she was promised to give a decent share. Say around 70s to 30 is the proportion, which is a decent knowing brother is staying with parents. But with time, as she is earning good, she is denied property share from both sides, sometimes referring old century rules by parents, sometimes referring new century rules by in-laws, and her remaining sisters and brothers and sister-in-laws who are getting more share as their income is less and having bad attitude towards her. In ancient times, the rules were irrespective of income, and once even an oral commitment was considered seriously. So, don't we need social reforms? Don't we need to discuss these issues? What is going on in the society? In current scenario, there are laws on ancestral property. That also after 4th generation. There are no law on earned income. There are no law on social behavior. For daughter-in-laws, there are different rules based on the selfishness of a person. If a person is selfishness, they'll talk about giving 21st century rights to their son and daughter-in-law. And if they don't want to give anything to their daughter, they'll refer to 16th century rules. If they want to give, they can refer as per the requirement. So a social debate is required to find a balance in society. This problem is everywhere in Indian continent, irrespective of caste, region, gender and religion. The debate should not be a TRP raising issue for a half an hour discussion. It is not sufficient time. People from different part of the country, caste, region, religion and gender should participate. As a Mahasabha, an upgraded version of social structure and rules are required. Girls or boys should get justice socially. No one should say, लड़कियां ऐसा करती हैं क्या, लड़कियां प्रॉपर्टी लेती हैं क्या, पेरेंट्स दे भी तो उनको मना कर देना चाहिए, लड़के लेते हैं क्या, पेरेंट्स दे भी तो बहुओं को मना कर देना चाहिए, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सिर्फ इन्हीं की होती है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सिर्फ बेटों की होती है. All these things, there should be some written information, some prescribed things. There should be guidelines to the society, which is being discussed by literates like Chanakya, literates like Chandragupta Maurya. Thank you.